Yo, what's up, family? Before we start the video, please leave a like, subscribe, and share it in everyone you can, just so we can get out there a little bit more. With that being said, let's get right into it. So the Celtics win their second close game in a row, this time taking on the Miami Heat. They win 119 to 111. It was an overall good game. You know, there's a lot of things you can take from this. Of course, you're not expecting a blowout against the Miami Heat, even when a guy like Jimmy only scores 14 points. He was like 8 for 9 from the free throw line. But let's go through the floor of the game first before we talk about the players. So in the first quarter, things did not look particularly well for the Celtics. At the beginning of the first quarter, they had a great first play where Tatum was posting up. I think he was at the free throw line kind of. And then he whipped the pass over to Holiday in the corner, and he hit that three without coming all the way down with it. He kept it high and shot it. Other than that, Bam and Hero came out firing. That DHO they have is just... they have so much chemistry on that, and when Tyler Hero is able to come off those screens where Bam sets them at an angle so the defender can't get there in time to contest, and if Hero's hitting that shot consistently, just like it was tonight, it's just so hard to stop. And Bam's also so quick when Hero gives the ball back to him. He's able to drive, he's able to shoot that mid-range, but it's great for the Miami Heat when those two are aggressive in hitting their shots. So the Celtics were down, I think 13 in like the middle of the first quarter, and then Joe Mazzulla pushes a button that he didn't push in the first game, and he inserts O'Shea Brissett. I didn't really know how it was going to go, but I was interested. I felt like we needed some energy, and that's what O'Shea brings, right? So he comes in about the 5:02 mark in the first quarter, and he's immediately flying for every rebound. He deadass changed the first quarter. He flipped the energy. He got like 3 offensive rebounds. He had a poster dunk. He was just on every rebound and just constantly fighting for the loose balls. And when you're a guy that's not really going to score much from the outside, we've seen that from the preseason, where him, Stevens, Walsh, Bannon were guys that weren't really shooting good from 3. You have to do something else if that's not what you're going to do. And the Celtics have the necessary infrastructure to not hide, but to not have those kind of guys be relied on to shoot threes and stuff like that, so they can go out and do those other things that the Celtics need. And O'Shea really did that, and the Celtics end up closing that first quarter on a run. The Heat were up 28 to 25. Hero had 12 points in that first quarter. The Celtics had 6 offensive rebounds. A lot of credit to O'Shea there, but they also had 5 turnovers, which was the theme this entire game. But in the second quarter, the Celtics outscored Miami by 8, 35 to 27. And in that second quarter, they started early. Pritchard and JB hit early threes to start that. But I was noticing that the Heat were getting a lot of mismatches in that second quarter. The Thomas Bryant on Peyton Pritchard was there a lot. He got a couple shots off on that. You know, the Bam on Hauser, the Jimmy on Hauser is actually a mismatch too, even though he didn't really score this game. And then Duncan Robinson hit 2 quick threes. I thought he was really going to get going. I think he only ended up with 9, so that's good for us. And we ended up getting some early offensive rebounds in that quarter too, leading to some points. But the story of that second quarter, I think, was Tatum's post game. We've seen it a lot against the New York Knicks, where there's multiple possessions of him grabbing the rebound and going straight to the post, and he's making plays for himself and others out of that. And tonight it was no different. They had Jaime Jaquez on him a lot, who played okay initially, but as soon as Tatum made his move, he was just in the dust every time. He started to send help. Tatum started passing out of it. But something else in the second quarter, I felt Porzingis should have had a much higher impact. The Celtics were looking for Tatum a lot in the post area. He had a couple buckets. He had a couple plays in there. But I think Porzingis also had some favorable matchups that they declined for threes or Tatum. There was a play where Tatum had Jaquez on him and Porzingis had Jrue Smith, and Porzingis was the one sending the post entry pass to Tatum. I don't mind Tatum posting up Jaime Jaquez, but I would rather Porzingis on Jrue Smith. And I think there was a couple of those plays where even in transition where he's running the floor and, you know, the smaller guys for the Heat are back before either Bam or Thomas Bryant, and KP standing there with his hands up like, yo, I got a small on me, and they don't hit him. But he did do some good things in that quarter. Tatum had 11 in the second quarter. And again, the Celtics were up at halftime 60 to 55. Some notable stats I have from the first half. The Celtics in the second quarter, they shot 10 for 14 on 2s. They dominated the paint in this game. Again, Tatum post game, Porzingis, Brown did a lot of slashing and stuff like that. We had 10 offensive rebounds that led to 14 second chance points. We did have a lot of turnovers. The Heat shot 8 for 20 from 3. We shot 8 for 21, so pretty even there. Again, we had 4 more shots off the offensive rebounds. Bam had 15 and 5. Hero had 14, 5 and 3. Tatum ended the half with 14, 5 and 5. And JB had 13 points with 3 steals. But in the third quarter, things got really physical. Fucking Kyle Lowry, he didn't even score his last game. It's just, for some weird reason, every Heat role player has +5 attribute boost when they play the Celtics. And they have +7 if they're in TD Garden. You know, I know Kyle Lowry has the play and the ability to be effective, but it's like he plays his best against us. and that's with all their role players. It's just annoying. You know, I'm surprised Jamal Cain didn't have 15 points with 5 or 7 threes. Jrue Smith had like 9 points. You know, it's just stuff like that they just continue to breed role players, and that's just their development team. They did hit Porzingis on a transition mismatch a couple times. He got some free throws because they just couldn't handle him down there. And the Bam and Hero DHOs were he's just coming off the screens and shooting. Like, in that third quarter, he wasn't trying to get to the mid-range. He wasn't probing a lot. He was coming off those screens and he was shooting them threes right off the Bam screens. And there was a lot of back and forth in that third quarter. It was a lot of offense. It was exciting to watch, but the Celtics or the Heat could have separated if they would have just got consecutive stops. Turnovers started to take their toll in the third quarter too. We had 13 with like a minute left in the third quarter. And the Bam versus KP matchup was really good in the third quarter. Bam had a better overall game, but that third quarter, it was really close. You know, KP and Bam were just going right back to each other. Porzingis had a putback. Bam came back, had an and one. KP had a 3. It was just a good back and forth between 2 all-star centers. And Jrue Holiday, of course, who we'll talk about later, made some very big plays at the end of that third quarter to kind of propel us to that lead. But in that third quarter, the Heat outscored us 33-27 and shot 5 for 5 from 3 in that quarter, and we had 5 turnovers. So we go into the fourth quarter down 1 to 88-87 and begun the Derrick White show. He had like 9 points in 3 minutes, and it was just really good to see, because when we first got Derrick White, he was like a nothing on offense. There was games where he couldn't shoot. Teams were just leaving him open, and even though he was good at defense, he was good at passing, he was good at every other aspect of his game except for shooting. In the playoffs, the first year when we got him, he just wasn't a factor on offense in some games. And to see his progression offensively and just confidence and shit like that is just amazing to see. And he is going to be, again, a very important piece for us if we want to win a championship. And I felt like towards the middle of the fourth quarter, we stopped like giving Tatum post touches. There was a lot of one-on-one from the top of the key and him trying to drive and taking tough threes and stuff like that. I thought we should have just made the game simple again. The play of Bam also took his toll in the fourth quarter. He's just so good when he's aggressive. I honestly don't understand why he doesn't take the 3, because Porzingis is sagging off like 10 feet off him, and it's not like he can't shoot. He's really efficient in the mid-range, and it's like a couple steps back. I just don't understand why he doesn't even attempt it. There's no way you're telling me that Bam can't at least shoot an above the break 3 when he's that good for the mid-range. His agility, his quickness, his first step was just too much for Porzingis in this game. Even though Porzingis is a good rim protector, if he meets Bam at the rim, he can probably stop him. But he was just a half step behind every time Bam chose to drove to the basket or get that little mid-range off. One thing that kept it close in the fourth quarter was the free throws that the Heat were getting. They got into the bonus really early, and they ended up shooting 12 of 14 from the free throw line in the fourth quarter. Also, a really big quarter for Jaylen Brown. He bailed us out a lot in that fourth quarter. There was possessions where we had nothing going. Jaylen Brown bailed us out, and that is what I think that's one of his greatest skills. Of course, it's a part of his scoring, which is his best skill, right? It's being able to make something out of nothing. Being able to put your head down and being strong and athletic enough to go up and finish, or to twirl, hit a step back, or a fadeaway shot over somebody smaller than you. And when he's there when we need him, this team is almost unstoppable. And the Celtics outscored the Heat by 9 and win 119-111. Derrick White had 14 points in that quarter, and Jaylen had 12 in the fourth quarter. I'm going to start with Derrick White. Again, it's just the progression. It's the progression you've seen from when he first got here. Last year, he shot tremendously from the field. He started scoring more. I think he was our best all-around point guard last year. Smart, who does a lot of stuff, makes the winning plays. Brogdon, who was 6th man of the year, he was outscored for most of the year. Still don't think he deserved a lot of that hate he got, but White was just more consistent. And Jrue and White just make a great tandem. Jrue had 17, 10, and 7. White had 28, 6, and 3. And these are two guys that can do everything at the guard position. There's nothing these two cannot do. They guard multiple positions. They can shoot the ball. They can score. They can make their own decisions. They can pass the ball. They can rebound. Holiday had 10 rebounds. And I think there's one thing that the Celtics didn't get significantly better at this offseason with all the great moves they made. I think they stayed the same or got worse at rebound. Porzingis is 7'3", but he's not a great rebounder for his size. So that means everybody has to crash, everybody has to pitch in, everybody has to box out. You have guys like Jrue giving you 10 rebounds. You have White giving you 6 rebounds. You have Tatum, who averaged 8 rebounds last year, is a guy that's going to continue to rebound. You have Brown, who's athletic enough to rebound. You have Al, who didn't score today but had 10 rebounds, right? You need everybody to pitch in if you're going to be a good rebounding team. White also had 3 blocks. He's the best shot blocking guard in this league. That one on Jimmy was just phenomenal because, you know, you see Tatum stop running, you see Jrue start running behind him, but White is just tracking and hawking Jimmy down. We seen that a lot in the playoffs when Jimmy gets a steal and he has an open bucket. He looks back before he slows down or does anything. That time, I don't think he looked back. He just slowed down for no reason. And White, you get that block. And then JB, it was sort of a roller coaster like it was in the first game. I think, of course, this game was better than the first one. But again, he scores. And he has to be there when we need him. When we don't have shit and when we need something, he has to come through. And he did that this game. 11 for 22, 50%. But the turnovers and the lapses are just stuff that comes with Jaylen Brown. Yes, in this stage of his career, he should be better at these things. But he's not. But he has one elite skill, and it's make tough shots. And when you have a guy that can do that at the clip that Jaylen Brown does, you have to appreciate it. And he has to come with it on both ends of the court too. Then on the JT, I think he is getting better situationally of like taking over games. Last game, you know, he had that stretch where he was just highly impactful. He had about like 3 stretches where he was just highly impactful. Tonight was the second quarter. He had 11 points. He was good down the stretch. And it's just, I'm glad Sam Cassell is here to drill the post game and using the weight that he's added to get easy buckets. He got stopped tonight in the post more than he did against the Knicks, but again, it's just really effective. And when they have to double team him, he's able to pass and show the progression he's made as a playmaker. I don't like him shooting 10 threes. This was a problem I had early in the playoffs where his shot profile to me was just all backwards. Like half of his shots would be threes. And for a guy who was getting to the basket at will in the Atlanta series, and it's just too good and too strong and too big to be settling. Half of his shots being threes should never happen. Of course, unless he has like 40 in it and he has like 6 threes made and he gets hot. We all know he can shoot. I would just rather him have more 2s than 3s because that's where he's most effective at, is in the 2s area. And again, Jrue Holiday just made so many winning plays, especially at the end of that third quarter and in the fourth, where he's coming down, grabbing big rebounds when Porzingis is boxed out or something like that. And it looks like the Heat are going to get another chance. Jrue came flying down there, and we need, and he just does everything. I would like him to handle the ball more. I would like him to be the point guard. Like, we brung him in here to be the point guard, and I think down the stretch, he should be able to be the point guard, and Tatum and Brown come off screens or they post up, or he runs pick and roll with any combination of Brown, Tatum, or Porzingis. And I think our offense can function really well. He does turn the ball over, but every NBA player turns the ball over. So as long as he keeps it like in that 2 to 3 range and he's still passing well, I think we'll be good with that. And of course, KP, who fouled out. Bam is just a very tough matchup. I think, you know, Porzingis will struggle with the more agile bigs who can put the ball on the floor and create for themselves. But again, this is still a really good game. He had 17 and 9. He had 3 steals. On offense, this is something we haven't had in a long time, right? A 7'3" guy that can shoot from 28 feet and can take advantage of mismatches when he has a smaller guy on him in the paint. And it was just a good win, a good way to get to 2-0 for the Celtics. But that's the end of the video, guys. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, share the end when you can. Just bring out there a little bit more. Comment your observations from the Celtics game, anything you disagree with or agree with what I said. I will be going to the Celtics and Wizards game on Monday, so I will be getting home a little bit later than usual. I'm not 100% sure you get in the post game. I'm about 60%. It just depends on how I feel, stuff like that. I might have to rewatch the game from the TV view, you know what I'm saying? Because there is stuff that you can miss when you're watching in person. But again, this is Nick. I'll see you guys. Peace.